Tonight, Speaker of Parliament alleged grand collusion between the Executive and Judiciary to undermine Parliament in an holds-barred press conference on recent controversy on the declaration of some seats as vacant.
Ladies and gentlemen, recent acts of the Judicial and Executive, and I see them as interference in the workings of Parliament, pose a direct challenge to the essence, jurisdiction, authority, powers, and functioning of the esteemed institution of Parliament.
We have details as he accuses the President and the Supreme Court of sinning against the Constitution of Ghana with the action and inaction on the anti-LGBTQ plus bill.
Both the President and the Judiciary have sinned against the Constitution and must seek the opportunity to confess and repent to be forgiven.
More as he takes on the Attorney General for accusing him of committing a crime by allegedly illegally procuring the services of Thaddeus Sorry as his lawyer.
I'll meet the Attorney General and I'll tell him my peace of mind on some legal issues and pronouncements he made at the Supreme Court.
Plus, the Speaker taking on the Chief Justice for saying there is a constitutional crisis because Parliament has not been sitting.
By disabusing and setting the minds of Ghanaians at ease, there is no constitutional crisis in this country. I repeat, there is no constitutional crisis.
And there is more drama expected in Parliament as the NDC group serve notice they are still the majority side in the House.
We shall be taking our seat in the chamber in accordance to the majority side which we are in Parliament, and we shall be open to supporting our colleagues in the minority.
And this is Top Story brought to you by Telecel, connecting Alleges and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Tonight, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin says there is a grand agenda by both the Executive and the Judiciary to weaken and undermine the Parliament of Ghana. In a no-holds-barred news conference to address recent controversies over the declaration of some seats as vacant, Alban Bagbin described the recent development as a power play and an interference by both the Executive and the Judiciary to interfere in the duty of Parliament. The Speaker claimed the conduct of both arms are destabilizing Ghana's democracy.
The current brouhaha may be likened to a power play between the arms of government and has the potential to undermine our democracy and the authority of Parliament. Its outcomes could subvert Ghana's constitutional order and the democratic system. Ghanaians have toiled, sacrificed their lives, and shed blood to establish for decades. Ladies and gentlemen, recent acts of the Judiciary and Executive, and I see them as interference in the workings of Parliament, pose a direct challenge to the essence, jurisdiction, authority, powers, and functioning of the esteemed institution of Parliament, which is the repository of the sovereign will of the people of Ghana. It is increasingly becoming clear the Judiciary and the Executive are seemingly colluding to weaken Parliament. The decision of the Ghanaian voters in the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections is clear and loud to all discerning people. The decision is obviously a preference for a consensual and collaborative governance to a winner-take-all government. The majoritarian system of Parliament, where the minority have a say, but the majority have its way was rejected by the voters. They rather opted for inclusivity, collaboration, consensus building, leaving nobody behind. The equal representation of the two major parties in Ghana, resulting in the composition of a hung parliament, to the voters is the better way forward for our dear nation.
The Speaker insists he has not conducted himself in a way as to obstruct the work of government, explaining he and the NDC group have been bending over backward to accommodate the business of government.
I'm the first speaker in the Fourth Republic, in fact, in the history of Ghana, to work with a president who belongs to a different party, to work without a majority party in parliament, but with an evenly divided parliament, 137 apiece. That is a hung parliament. Decision making has therefore not been smooth sailing. As the Speaker of Parliament, I hold the balance in favor of the national interest, but sometimes bend backwards to accede to government requests because government has been given the mandate to govern. In the current hung parliament, the new standing orders of parliament had to cater for such a government by a number of provisions in the standing orders. We also provided provisions for all the other options of government that I just explained. For instance, a day which we called a decision day has been designated in the new standing orders, where the Speaker, in consultation with the leadership of the House, will set aside to allow members of Parliament who are ministers and deputy ministers the opportunity to be present in Parliament, to be counted in support of government position, to ensure government business does not suffer for lack of government members of Parliament in Parliament. Despite the above, often the number of government members present still don't add up due to the nature of the duties and responsibilities of ministers and deputy ministers. The NDC members of Parliament, however, understood the situation and on a daily basis cooperated with the MPP members of Parliament to see government business through. In spite of this, the NDC members are said to be saboteurs of government business.
Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante sat through this news conference and has joined us with details. Kweku, I want to first deal with this. Now, we know that this is the first time the Speaker is addressing the press in this manner. He insists some of these developments in Parliament could be dealt with in Parliament without a resort to the courts.
Well, yes, Brace. According to the Speaker of Parliament, persons like the Majority Leader, Alexander, who continuously run to the Supreme Court at every given opportunity to vent their spleen over matters that have been in Parliament, are simply acting in a way that is weakening Parliament. Goes ahead to actually pass a verdict on both the Judiciary and the Executive, who he says in certain matters have conducted themselves in a way that sins against the Constitution, citing in particular the stalemate over the anti-LGBTQ bill.
The powers of the Judiciary ends where the nose of Parliament starts. The Constitution is very clear on freedom of speech and of proceedings of Parliament. Articles 115 and 116 grant members of Parliament privileges and immunities of speech, debates, and proceedings on any matter or thing brought by a member in or before Parliament by petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. This means happenings in Parliament must remain in Parliament. So the court must, and has always been, hesitant to interfere in of Parliament. In the celebrated case of Tufor versus the Attorney General, the Supreme Court affirmed that happenings in Parliament are a closed book. Despite these provisions, the courts are replete with debates and proceedings of Parliament. Most worrying is these proceedings are initiated by some members of Parliament, even leaders of Parliament who ought to know better. Parliamentarians who are to be loyal to Parliament rather than to the Supreme Court run to the Supreme Court at the slightest opportunity to use the Supreme Court to undermine Parliament. This might be one of the reasons Parliament and members of Parliament are not respected and treated with disdain. This was exhibited by the President's refusal to even receive the LGBTQ plus bill, duly processed and passed by Parliament without any legal basis. The judiciary is supportive of this conduct by the receipt and processing of a suit on this subject matter. These are dangerous precedents in our democratic journey. Both the President and the judiciary have sinned against the Constitution and must seek the opportunity to confess and repent to be forgiven.
Well, the Speaker cited that case there, which is at the Supreme Court, and he then created an impression that he does not believe justice is being done in this case.
Well, yes, Brace, the Speaker of Parliament talks about the verdict of the court. The court said that these 4 MPs must be represented in Parliament up until the full determination of the matter. The Speaker of Parliament said that baffles him because in a matter of desecration, the court stopped that MP from working for over 15 months. And then also when it comes to the matters of South, the Supreme Court has been very lax on that matter so that a whole constituency has not been represented in Parliament for 4 years. It does not believe why the court will say this and then in the next position take another position. He does not believe that the court has been consistent when it comes to these matters.
Let me state unequivocally, Parliament owes its duty to the people who established and elected its members to serve and represent them. The wheels of Parliament will continue to turn, and no person will be allowed to disrupt parliamentary proceedings or to undermine the democratic mandate of Parliament. When I ruled in January 2021 on the issue of which side constitutes majority and minority in Parliament, the ruling was in favor of the majority group then. It was not an act of lawlessness as to cause constitutional crisis. When I ruled in the matter of the vacation of seats by Honorable Kennedy Ajapong, Honorable Henry Korte, and Honorable Sarah Adjoa Safo, the question of the interpretation of the Constitution was not raised. When my predecessor declared the former seat vacant in 2020, applying the same provisions of Article 97, the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret and enforce provisions of the Constitution was not invoked. Peace reigned in these instances, and nobody cried and ran to the Supreme Court under the guise of constitutional interpretation. If I may ask, is it a legal matter for the Supreme Court to decide as to which side of the House constitutes the majority or minority? It is for good reason that justice is said to be blind, and further, that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done in all cases.
So, I mean, the Speaker had time, to take on the AG for his submissions in court and in an interview he granted to you.
Well, yes, in court, the Attorney General, Godfrey Wadame, did raise a matter having to do with the legal representation of the Speaker in the person of Tadio Sori. Right afterwards, I also did interview him, and he expatiated further on the matter. And in fact, it was during that interview that he went as far as to say that he believed that the Speaker of Parliament may have committed a crime. I, again, got the opportunity today and asked the Speaker of Parliament whether or not he had committed a crime and what he made of that PPA letter. He rubbished the claims of the Attorney General and said he will meet the Attorney General personally and tell him his mind.
I will plead with you. Go and look at that letter. He's the Attorney General. He did his service in Parliament here. I was leader then when he was doing his service here. Yes. So I know him very well before he became Attorney General. Read that letter carefully. And that's one of the things they are missing. There's vast difference between Parliament as an institution and the office of the Speaker. The Speaker is the party before the Supreme Court, not Parliament. So as Speaker, when the Attorney General is taking a different position from my position, I should still contract him as my counsel. I will leave it at that. Once I'll meet the Attorney General, and I'll tell him my peace of mind on some legal issues and pronouncements he made at the Supreme Court. You know, Attorney Generals must be respected as learned, but it should not be part of what Obama referred to. Not me. It will not work.
Well, Kweku, the CJ in court said the country was facing a constitutional crisis because Parliament has not been speaking, has not been sitting. The Speaker responded to this.
Hello, Brace.
Yeah, so I want to find out from you, the other time when the Supreme Court sat, the Chief Justice said in court that the country was facing a constitutional crisis because Parliament had not been sitting. The Speaker responded to this, right?
Well, yes, the Speaker of Parliament did dedicate a lot of time right at the outset of his speech to say that any person who would say there is a constitutional crisis because Parliament is not sitting is engaged in misinformation and disinformation.
Kweku, so, I mean, what will happen tomorrow as to certain arrangement? Who is majority and who is minority?
Well, particularly regarding that, the Speaker of Parliament says he's not going to dabble in that. Those matters, some part of it is in court and all that. He's not going to go into that. As to the seating arrangement, he's also not going to get into that because that is the business of the clerk. But right after the Parliament did grant this press conference, the minority, the NDC side, did follow up with a press conference. And they say that they are the majority and they will turn up tomorrow for the parliamentary proceedings, the recall of Parliament, and they will take the right-hand side of the Speaker. Listen to Kwame Govern Sagoja. He is the chief whip of the NDC caucus in Parliament.
Tomorrow, as a result of the directive of Mr. Speaker, in line with the Constitution and standing orders, the majority NDC shall attend upon the House at appropriate time as directed by Mr. Speaker. We shall take our rightful place in the chamber as to where we sit and wait for whatever businesses that may come in front of us. Our advice to our colleagues in the minority MPP is to try and prioritize business that is in the interest of the people of this country, and they shall find favor and cooperation with us in trying to deal with those businesses. We can assure them that as long as the business is in the interest of improving the lot of Ghanaians, they can count on the majority NDC caucus in Parliament to support those initiatives to pass those the things that would help.
Quite an interesting day in Parliament. Let's bring in lawyer Alexander Kojo Aban, who is former MP for Gomoa West and also a private legal practitioner, and also Yusuf Suleimana, who is MP for Bole Bamboy. Grateful to you, gentlemen, for staying with us. Let me bring in lawyer Aban. You have been a member of Parliament and you are a lawyer as well. Now, is the Speaker not right to think that the Judiciary and Executive are against the workings of Parliament when he is able to cite a number of times the court have been used to thwart the effort of Parliament?
Thank you very much, and thanks to your cherished listeners. The constitutional matters going on actually throws into focus one of the things that a lot of us have been talking about, that the position of the Attorney General should be completely insulated from executive influence. He asked a question which I felt was, drove home the point that when the Attorney General holds a contrary view as him, why should he, the Speaker, appoint him as his counsel? So that one would be for another discussion.
Okay.
But I think that this whole hullabaloo is the doing of the Speaker himself.
How so?
Yes. You see, he cited a number of examples and probably guided by the ruling of Professor Mike Oquay when he was Speaker on the Formina seat at the time that I was in Parliament. The truth of the matter is that the fact that nobody challenged that one before the courts did not make it right. I want the Speaker to understand that. I can give examples of things that we have been doing, for instance, issues of bail and other things that for many years we had done, and other people read through the law again, decided to go to court to challenge the status quo, and the courts said that yes, you are right. We can mention the cases that Martin Pegu did. So the fact that Mr. Professor Oquay relied wrongly, though it was, on his own interpretation of Article 97, Clause 1, G and H, did not make it right then. And it couldn't have been right now, even though nobody challenged it. That's what I want to say on that one.
But I mean, he's concerned that the judiciary and the executive are thwarting the effort of Parliament, and he enumerates several instances where he feels so. And I'm asking,
that statement is very unfortunate to come from him. In fact, the judiciary is the only body that does not, on its own, move to encroach on the turf of any other person until and unless somebody comes before them.
Okay.
You must understand that. And that is why, probably, even if the judiciary would have had a different view from Professor Oquay in his judgment or in his ruling on the Formina case, because nobody went there, the judiciary did not speak.
Let me bring in Habib Idrisu. Stay with me. Let me bring in Habib Idrisu, who's First Deputy Majority Chief Whip and MP for Toulon. Habib, grateful for joining. What's your reaction to what the Speaker did today?
Hello?
Yeah. What's the reaction of the majority to what the Speaker did today?
Yes. We watched from our office because we were not invited to the press briefing by the Speaker. And our initial observation is that the serious issues that are running through the minds and the hearts of Ghanaians and many members of Parliament were left unanswered, if not referred to the court, but rather Speaker would say it is the clerk who has the duty to do that. Case in point has to do with seating arrangement, where who will sit where. When the question was asked, he said that's not the duty of the Speaker, it is the clerk. Then the issue of whether the members, 4 members, will be allowed to come into the chamber or not. He said the case is in court, and so many other issues. So, we can say in the majority that there is nothing much to actually say that you are speaking about what the Speaker told the media, but rather to actually have that interactions with them and then attack certain arm of whatever he wants to do. But what is clear is that we are coming back tomorrow to Parliament, and we are majority and we will sit on the right-hand side of the Speaker tomorrow.
The NDC has served notice that they will sit on that right-hand side because they are a majority, and that if you cooperate with them, business will run smoothly.
Cooperating with them in a sense, in what sense? Number one, when you listen to Speaker press media briefing, he made a point that when he said it's not a ruling, that it was his comment. When he read his comment, he said he did not give any orders. What are the orders? The orders that the minority is majority. The orders that they have more numbers than us. The orders that he's referring to Atuforsen as majority leader. But even if you listen, he said if you go back and read the Hansard or watch the video on that day, even after he read his comment, he'll call it now. But for us, it's a ruling because it has consequences on the composition of the House based on what he said. He still referred to our majority leader, Honorable Fenyo Marcus, as majority leader in Atuforsen. And I also acknowledge that there is a ruling from the Supreme Court that has set aside his ruling, the stay of his ruling. He has acknowledged it because that's why he went to actually file for it to be set aside, which was denied. So, on what basis would the NDC come and sit in the majority side? On what basis that the Speaker has read the statement? The basis that the Speaker himself has heard that the Supreme Court have ruled for the stay of his ruling? The fact that the Speaker himself has gone to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court aside their own ruling on the stay of execution. On what basis? If not violent, not causing confusion. So what basis will they sit in the majority side?
So what will be the game plan of the majority tomorrow to ensure that the minority do not occupy the majority side of the House?
What I can say and assure Ghanaians is that the MPP and we in the majority side, we are law-abiding citizens. We enjoy the democracy that we are all enjoying. We will not involve in any act of violence, any act of confrontation, anything to mar the beauty of our democracy. When we go normally, before we go into the chamber, we seek conflict and both leadership of the House, minority, majority, and Speaker, to discuss about things. This matter will come up, and if the Speaker cannot be bold to say that, oh, the MPP caucus are the majority and they will sit on my right-hand side and that. We will advance ourselves. And we also know that if he do that, it's a disrespect to the Supreme Court. The same Supreme Court he has gone to tell them side. And when he do that, we also have our right under Article 95, I think 2, 3 or 4 of the Constitution. And we know that if the Speaker disrespects the Constitution, we also activate certain things within the Constitution.
Okay. Let me bring in Yusuf Suleiman, who is MP for Bolibamba. Yusuf, so we understood when the Speaker adjourned the House that there will be some consultations. It looks as though there hasn't been any. What happened? We thought that there will be that consultation so that the House can run smoothly.
First of all, let me say good evening to our cherished viewers or listeners, and to also say good evening to Lawyer Aban, and then my brother Habib. Yes, so one would have thought that after the adjournment, there would have been some consultation so that today would have, gotten some headway in terms of how we're going to conduct business tomorrow. Unfortunately, from what I've just listened to, from what I've just gotten from Honorable Habib, there wasn't any consultations of that nature. And for me, one would have thought that they would have initiated it. And once they haven't initiated it, and I think that they are in majority, tomorrow I believe that we will be in majority, or we are in majority. I'm saying this because, you see, we have an arm of government called Parliament, and it is the Speaker who hears it. And so anytime there's any formal communication, we are a house of records. It is the Speaker who will come and communicate that to us. And on the basis of that information, we now have a direction and we move towards that direction. We implement whatever he tells us to do. We must respect him. We must respect that institution. So if there was any ruling of that sort,
Habib, when the Speaker had acknowledged the servants of that ruling on him, and you say you will still be in the majority, wouldn't that be disrespecting the Supreme Court?
So I'm saying that if the Speaker comes to us tomorrow, like he alluded to the fact that they're going to have a conclave meeting, if at the conclave meeting is resolved, or Speaker says that I have received some ruling sort of, and that the 4 people who are supposed to vacate their posts are supposed to come back, then automatically we go to our minority status. Once that is not communicated to us, as it stands now, we are in majority. And respectfully, we will go and take our seats on the right-hand side. And we are not going to involve ourselves in any violence or whatever. We go in quietly and take our seats. If our brothers agree and swallow their ego and go sit at the left-hand side, then we conduct business. But as it stands now, until the speaker directs or tells us that, you listen to speaker's, press conference, and he clearly stated that he disagrees with the Supreme Court. So if he disagrees with the Supreme Court, okay, and he's still contesting the case in court, we are waiting for him to give us directive. We cannot listen to the media out there, and we cannot listen to any other person. We have a house that has records, and so we want to listen to the person who is responsible for communicating official information to us. Then we will take a step.
You're part of leadership. Why wasn't that consultation done?
Hello?
Yeah, Habib Risu, I'm asking you, you are part of leadership. Why wasn't that consultation done? Do I still have Habib on the line? Habib Idrisu is first.
I'm not sure it's on the line, but
okay. Because I really wanted to understand why that. But this has been top story here. Lawyer Alexander Aban is still on the line. Lawyer, let me take your concluding remarks. What do you expect Parliament to do tomorrow when they reconvene? Okay. So this has been top story. My name is Samuel Kojo. Coming up next is Newsnight.
Well, it's 31 days to the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Hashtag Stop Galamsey is still on. This is Newsnight. Electoral Commission submits final voters register to political parties and independent candidates, describing it as fit, robust, and credible to deliver transparent elections despite opposition from the NDC. We'll hear from the NDC, which describes the final register as incomplete. The Electoral Commission is addressing the news conference. We'll take you there live. Also tonight, latest report from Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. Kojo raises concern over low voter education ahead of election 2024. As it says, voter engagement has dropped to as low as 12%, less than 30 days to the elections. We have full details of the report, including concerns over the use of school buses, assembly pickup trucks, and motorcycles for campaigning activities. We'll tell you which constituencies are complicit when we get into the details. Also tonight, in our latest episode of Climate Focus series, we will tell you how a fire mapping technology in Ghana is transforming wildfire response and safeguarding our environment.
First, as with satellite information that helps us to detect fire hotspots. The information is fed into an advanced virtual fire information system, which is an ICT-based information, to alert farmers and then other stakeholders about areas where fire is of high risk and where fires are currently occurring.
In business, marginal reduction in prices of some food items still not enough to slow inflation rate increase for October this year.
And in sports, Ghana international Mohamed Kudus handed a further 2-game ban and fined £60,000 for the red card against Tottenham.
You want to stay with us for all that? Plus your views and comments here on Newsnight. Send me a WhatsApp 055 111 We have all the details for you here on Newsnight after this.
There's a business in every woman, from the young lady brimming with exciting and novel business ideas to the market queen managing her empire. There's the she architect, quantity surveyor, realtor, business consultant, crafting dreams into reality, and the multitasking mom seamlessly blending work at home. The entrepreneur, meticulously checking stock, to the corporate woman sealing deals on the move. Indeed, there's a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Benefit from tailored activities, networking, business and technical support, free webinars, trainings, and more. To join this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Everywhere you go, big go for the friends and the family. Big go, big refreshing moment. Big go for the kids and the adults. Big go, boys and girls with a drink up. Big go, everywhere the party day. Big go, we go mash up the place with the big go. Greatest in every battle. Big go, big go, big go, big go, big go, big go. Big refreshing moment.
Big old drink. Big refreshing moment. Another quality product from Trillium Industries. This advert is FDA approved.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Hey, Makasada!
Get ready.
Every objection against you is hereby dismissed.
For Impact 2024 with the Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, Reverend Dr. Eastwood Anaba, Apostle Joshua Selman, Apostle Isi Igeneba, Bishop Dr. Bernard Ojiri Asari, and Reverend Dr. David Inkri, November 24th to December 1st, 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily at Action Chapel International Prayer Cathedral, Dominion Arena. For inquiries or bars information, call 059-230-0069.
It's live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Also here on the program.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
And Donald Trump sweeps to victory in U.S. elections. The vanquished Vice President Kamala Harris, we're now learning, is set to make her concession speech after Trump's sweeping victory.
Absolutely not. There's no correlation between a victory in America and fortunes in Ghana or Africa. A former president has come back in America, so a former president in Ghana would come. And it can be used for political gains. But to say that the logic is there for it to happen, I don't think there's any logic there.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants CIMA, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants AICPA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, a strong, a tough, and potential real estate. Your trusted partner in real estate.
And this indeed is your election headquarters. We're taking you to the United States of America pretty shortly, but let's start here because we're counting down to our own elections, 31 days away, and fresh controversy has emerged tonight. Electoral Commission's electoral roll is out. The voters register. The Commission has now submitted its final voters register to the political parties and independent candidates, and they've been describing it as fit, robust, and credible to deliver transparent elections. Now, this assurance comes amid strong opposition from the NDC, which has raised concerns about the register's accuracy and inclusiveness. Since the last voter exhibition exercise, the Commission says they have resolved all outstanding issues raised earlier about the register. I want to take you live now to the Electoral Commission's headquarters where my colleague Michael Ashali is standing by with the very latest. We've been waiting for the specifics. What do we know tonight?
Well, Evan, so let's start from what the Electoral Commissioner herself, John Mensah, said earlier. In her opinion, the electoral roll as we have now is fit for purpose and will be able to deliver credible elections. I mean, from her point of view, this is a register that will raise no eyebrows when it's presented to the political parties. The NDC already has raised opposition to that. But in her statement, she mentioned that in the last IPAC meeting, they gave all political parties opportunity to raise concerns about it. And in the last exhibition they did, all the concerns they raised that was raised about the register was about 158 of them. From her point of view, the Commission has resolved all of these issues, and so therefore this register becomes the final one. And she came with the gavel herself to hit on the table and said, this is the final register. We can listen to the Commissioner herself make these points.
At our last IPAC meeting held on Tuesday, the 15th of October 2024, the Commission indicated that it would provide the soft copies of the certified final voters register for the 2024 general election to political parties ahead of time. In fulfillment of that undertaking to you and to the good people of Ghana, we will today, Wednesday the 6th of November, present you with the soft copies of the final certified voters register for the 2024 general election. At the meeting of IPAC on the 15th of October, we indicated that this presentation will be made to you at the end of the first week of November. However, with the help of God We've been able to do that 2 days before the 8th, which signifies the end of the first week of November. Ladies and gentlemen, following the re-exhibition of the revised Provisional Voters Register, the Commission received a total of 158 issues from registered voters across the country. I'm pleased to note that all the issues have been resolved, and as we speak, we have no further issues regarding the final voters register for the 2024 general election. As you may recall, at that meeting, we provided the political parties with a template on which to report any issues they had with the revised provisional voters register. I'm again pleased to inform you and the good people of Ghana that no political party presented any issues regarding the register for resolution. I'm pleased to note that we now have a robust and credible final certified voters register, which is fit to deliver a credible, transparent, fair, peaceful, and glorious election.
And Michael, the NDC has concerns nonetheless, in spite of the commissioner saying that there are no further issues.
Yes, Evans. So the NDC in particular, which at the time of reading even, they were the only party or entity that raised consent objection to the EC's move to present the register to them today without prior notice or without any communication at all. Now, the representative of the NDC, Tanko, mentioned that in his opinion, the numbers has been given to them. They don't believe in it. And again, they don't know the content of this hard drive that has been given to them and therefore would like to reject it. And so initially from the beginning, they did not receive the hard drives that were given by the EC. But later, when they were given the opportunity to raise their consent, there was some sort of agreement from my part with what I observed, and they went for the hard drive now. But you can listen to Computer himself mention the consent as the NDC wanted to be said. Okay,
we'll hear from Tanko pretty shortly on those concerns. Did they put those directly to the commissioner?
Yes, so they were given the opportunity to put this concern directly to the Electoral Commissioner. So one of the concerns is the reason the Electoral Commission has kept journalists and the political parties waiting for well over an hour after they expected this particular meeting to end. One of those concerns is that they wanted the final statistics as the EC has it on their final register before they left, so that they don't go and when they see or have some discrepancies or what they believe may be issues with the register, at least then the EC will have some base understanding of what was given to them as political parties.
But they were giving, from what I learned from Madam Jean Mensah, they were giving the provisional register, and Jean Mensah says that none of the political parties returned with any issue on that, and which is really what has fed into the finalization of this register.
Yes, Evan. So her words were that since their last IPAC meeting, at that particular meeting, the one even before the last one, there was a call from the EC that if any political party has an issue with the register as it was at the time, the provisional register, they should use a particular form that has been given to them to register their complaints. She says that since that time, in the last IPAC meeting, when they make similar calls, not a single complaint has come from any of the political parties. And through the voter exhibition exercise, the last one they did, which was online, they have only received 150 complaints. And for where they sit as an electoral commission, they have resolved all of those. And that gives them the right to say that this register is the certified, true, and final one that will ever produce.
Thank you, Michael. Thankfully, Dr. Tanko Rashid, the Deputy National Director of Elections and IT with the NDC, joins us on the line right now. Doc, thanks for the time here on Newsnight. So, from what we understand, you now have the final voters register, but you still have some concerns. What are these?
Yes, Evans, let me say good evening to your cherished listeners. We have serious concerns over the document they presented. One, chiefly, she indicated it's a certified register. They brought a register with statistics on it. They don't have statistics.
When you say statistics, when you say statistics, what do you mean? A national the total number of registered voters?
Fantastic. They must tell us the total registered voters as embedded in the certified register. That's one. We must have the regional breakdown. We must have the statistics of how many females, how many males. We must have statistics on absentee voters. We must have statistics about proxy and all the other 5 registers they mentioned. We must have statistics for that. Clearly, when they were giving the provisional register, they gave the statistics on those things. And so if you are giving us a final register, it must also come with those ones. That is a clear breach. And that was the objection we raised. And then she tried to explain that, well, they agree, but we can go and then they'll put it on our platform. We said, no, we're not going to accept it on our platform. We want the media to also listen to the kind of statistics you are going to bring out, so that when we go out there, we are all speaking on the same page. But we will not pick this document and go, and then we will have statistics on it. That led them to now suspend the meeting, to go back to their offices to work on it. As we speak now, for almost an hour now, they are still coming. Evans, do you think if they had the statistics, they would have wasted everybody's time up till now?
So you're waiting for the Electoral Commission to complete. Did they promise they'll provide?
Everybody's here.
Did they promise they'll provide that tonight before you leave?
Yes. They asked us we should give them time. They are going up to come. So all the media plus the political parties, we are all here waiting for them to bring. Because on what basis am I going to pick a hard drive without knowing the statistics of it? On what basis? And in secondly, Evans, there is a procedure for certifying a register. Go and read Regulation 27.123, and you see the procedure explicitly stated under Regulation. This is CI 91 as amended by 126. It includes what we call Adjudication Committee, and the Adjudication Committee includes political party representatives in satisfying the register. This has not been done. We are waiting for them when they come. We'll tell them. When we wanted to raise the objection, and I'm sure your media were there, they didn't want us to talk about it. Why?
Were you in this private meeting with the chairperson of the commission and her assistants in addressing some of the concerns? And there you've indicated, I believe, that the assurance was that they'll put the information on your platform. Was that the only assurance you got?
Yeah, that is the meeting I'm saying. We are all here in the meeting. When we raise the objections and the issues therein, her response was that by the time we get home, they will put it on our platform. That is what she told everybody at the meeting.
But that has changed now. But that has changed now. You're now waiting for it, and the assurance is that you'll get it tonight.
Yes, we're now waiting for it.
But is that the only? Is that the only concern you have? Because that is pretty simple, right? If it's in soft copy, you should be able to calculate the Electoral Commission, what the total registered voters are across the country, and what the breakdown is.
Evan, it's not as simple as you are looking at it. If it was simple, I'm sure within 5 minutes, with a click of a button, they would have printed it in for us. It's taking them almost an hour plus to go and bring it.
Is that your only concern, though?
Our concern is the procedure adopted in satisfying the register. Apart from this pure breach of procedure, statistics is a problem to them. If they have it, by the click of a button, these things would have been there. I don't think they have a satisfied register, and I don't think this is a satisfied register. I still have my doubt about the document. Well, although we told them they should go and bring those statistics, and then we will take time and study it. Apart from that, you yourself, I know you, read CI 91, Regulation 27.123, and then you get to know what I'm talking about. Whether the Electoral Commission has formed an adjudication committee to adjudicate the process of certifying the register.
The chairperson also disclosed that following your last meeting, they asked all parties to go review the provisional register and return if you have any other concerns, and none of the political parties returned, including yourselves. Does that mean that you were happy with what you were giving prior to the certification of the register?
We decentralized the issues to our constituencies and regions and said that any issues that they have, they should present it to them at that local level. And they did. She mentioned about 158. Where did they get the 158 from? They wanted us to come as a political NDC. These are our issues. Our people send their issues from the constituencies and all that. Which are the issues?
Have they all been resolved? She says they have been resolved.
She said they have resolved the issue. You and I have not seen the resolution. We haven't opened the drive they've given us. we said we need to have the statistics first. We will go and open the drive and make sure that find out whether those issues have been resolved or not. But in any case, we are still waiting on them to listen to them, the outcome of their meeting up there, up to now. We are all here waiting.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanko Rashid. There's a Deputy National Director of the Elections and IT at the NDC. We also have our reporter on the ground, all waiting for that breakdown and additional details that the NDC is questioning and asking for clarity about. Once we get that, we will bring that to you. What it means is that as of tonight, yes, the certified register has been provided to the political parties, but you cannot tell, if you're listening to the consents of the NDC, what the total number of registered voters across the country is as of tonight, and its breakdown, a regional basis and a constituency also. We're watching this very closely. Once we get clarity from the Electoral Commission, we'll bring that to you. Now, staying with the Electoral Commission with 31 days to go before the elections, we've been hearing from the Special Representative of the Secretary General and the head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, Leonardo Santos Simao. And he says, as far as the UN is concerned, they are happy with the work that the Electoral Commission has done so far and their desire to be transparent in the lead up to the elections.
What the Electoral Commission is doing, yeah, it's positive, but it's not doing it in a vacuum. The Electoral Commission has clients to satisfy, which are the political parties and the wider society in general. Therefore, these clients not always are satisfied because they have concerns which they are addressing to this institution. The positive side of that is there is openness of the Electoral Commission to address these concerns in the best way so that it gives to everybody from political parties and from the voters in general that comfort that their concerns are addressed, and therefore the conditions for holding elections are equal for everybody. In other words, that the choices of the citizens are going to be respected.
So in your view, the Electoral Commission is being transparent?
I think so. Or at least making efforts. Maybe it will not reach the level of perfection, which is the ideal, but I have no doubt that genuine efforts and commitment to do good is there.
Thankfully, you met with the opposition leader, the flag bearer of the opposition party, yes, the last time you were here, yes, in Kumasi.
Right.
We know recently he's also met with the international community, and he issued a statement to talk about, he placed before them his concerns.
Right.
And I believe he would have placed before you his own concerns about
yes,
the fears he has about the elections, its transparency, credibility, etc. What were those when he met you?
One of the main concerns of the opposition was the voter registration, that it required a serious review on that. But this was then addressed in a meeting, open meeting, the Electoral Commission had with the political parties. And I think that most of the doubts the opposition had have been solved. But even if they are not solved, I found more recently the openness of the Commission to work with all partners.
And that's a UN there endorsing the work of the Electoral Commission, their openness and transparency in finalizing the processes towards elections. You've just been listening there to the Special Representative of the Secretary General and head of the United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, Leonardo Santos Simao. In my exclusive interview with him, you can catch that across the social media platforms. I want to stay with this subject of the Electoral Commission and the certified voters register, which has been submitted to all the political parties and the independent candidates as well. We've heard from the NDC. Let's hear from the MPP. Evans Nemako is the Director of Research and Elections there and joins us. And Evans, I believe you are also at the Electoral Commission as we speak tonight, correct?
Yes, Evans, good evening. Thank you for having me. Yes, as we speak, I'm at the premises of the EC's corporate office in Accra.
You have a copy of the certified register?
Yes, a copy of it has been given to us in an external hard drive. We are here to go to our office to open it and see the content. You remember we had met at the IPAC on 1st of October this year,
there was a follow-up meeting on the 15th where the EC handed over to political parties the revised version of the provisional register. And we are sure that by the first week of November, the certified register will be given to us. Even if you look at the CI 91 as amended 126, the regulation 27.4 indicates that the EC will give the final certified copy of the register to political parties and any other person or institution they deem fit 21 days to the election day. And so we think that we are within the time frame. And so we will go with it and look at it and see what
we just spoke to
the
just spoke to the NDC. They say that they, on the face of the soft copy they have received, it lacks national statistics, the breakdown of the national registered voter data, constituency, regional level. Do you share that concern? Have you opened it at all to familiarize yourself at least with what you have before you sort of drill down to the specifics?
Well, I mean, those of us, no, I didn't see anybody with a computer, so it's just the external hard drive that was been given. The call for the regional breakdown in terms of statistics of the registered voters, national level, through region to constituency and polling station, it's not out of place. So we are all here waiting for it. That notwithstanding, you know the EC is in print for the presidential and parliamentary. Ballot statistics were generated and mainly based on the revised provisional register. We would just suppose this with what we were given and see the outcome. But within that, looking at what the law requires, the EC is within, and where the final register had been compiled, it makes it difficult, if any, to raise other concerns. But there could be other platforms if you want to challenge any issue.
Yeah, but Evans, you don't find it strange. At least you've been covering elections and been involved in the thick of it for a long time. I have too. That each time a voters register is finalized and certified, the basic front page of that will be a breakdown of the national statistics, as in national, regional constituencies, and that you don't have it with this.
Evans, you don't see it on any page of any register. You don't see it on any page. It will have to be generated. And so we are waiting for the EC to generate for us what they have given us, a summary of it. I'm saying it is not out of place for parties to make such a demand on the EC. It is the reason why, having closed the meeting for the past 30, 40 minutes, we are still here waiting for the EC to come out with their statistics so that we'll go with it and then we'll look at it whether it really conforms.
Thank you very much. That there is Evans Nemako, is the Director of Research and Elections with the NPP. And still on the subject of elections, though, the question that the CODEO, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, have been trying to answer is how informed are you, how educated are you ahead of the elections to help you make informed decisions in the booth. But we know one of the biggest challenges with our elections is the number of spoiled ballots, because people simply do not understand how to cast a simple vote. And some alarming data the CODEO is putting out tonight that we are learning that ongoing voter education exercise and backed on by the Electoral Commission has reached only 12% of the voter population. And I want to bring in my colleague who's poring over that particular report for us. James Avaji joins me in the studio with this. Let's start with the details of the engagement and the key issues the political parties have with the voters about these gaps in education.
Well, Evans, this report, let's start by saying that it was drawn from report of CODEO's long-term observers deployed to some 97 constituencies across 6 regions: Ashanti, Greater Accra, Central, Western North, and the Eastern regions. Now, it found out that there is generally low levels of voter education activities by the EC in the constituencies observed. It says that only 12% of CODEO observers report noted voter education activities by the EC. It went on to look at party voter engagement on policies. And in this one, the NDC and NPP have according to the report, had good amount of engagement with voters over the period, compared to the smaller parties and the independent candidates whose level of engagement is as equal as that of the EC, just 12%. Now, on the specific issues the parties have been selling to the voters, the NDC's top priority has been the economy, followed by unemployment, and then corruption. Then the other issues followed up. Then the NPP's priority was education. Economy came second, and then unemployment came third. But the good news is that there's been very little report of voter inducement, as in trying to buy vote from the electorate.
But there is a lot about abuse of incumbency. Who is abusing incumbency here?
Exactly. For instance, when you look at the Ejura, Secher, Dumasi constituency, it was reported that the NPP parliamentary candidate flyer were posted on the earth-moving equipment, the drip project machine sent in there. Then in Kintampo South and in Kuranza South constituencies, there were reports of the use of senior high school buses for campaign activities. Then again in Asawase constituency, the state-owned Ayalo buses were used to transport supporters to rally grounds. And then finally, the DC and constituency secretary of Daboya Mankarugu constituency were also fingered to have used district assemblies pickups and motorcycles to aid the campaign of the NPP's parliamentary candidate there.
And recommendations?
Yes, Kojo believes that first, the issue that happened at the Agona West shooting that happened, they want the police to get to the root of that and prosecute all perpetrators. They want the NCC, the EC, the media, and other stakeholders to intensify civic education. Also cautioning against vote buying, going deeper into the election. They believe that when the election is reefed, that is when there may be vote buying, and the candidate to also desist from the abuse of incumbency, because this constitutes to conflict of interest captured under the Constitution.
Thank you very much. And I know the NCC itself is pretty much concerned about this. We're trying to get some clarity on what they'll be doing in the next 31 days to try and reverse this trend of low voter education ahead of the elections. But we can do some business now. And George, America indeed sneezed. We are all catching the cold. And
it
Donald
depends
Trump,
whether it's a Qatar or it's a COVID-19 or whatever.
Yes, and already the dollar is strengthening.
It's strengthening.
On the
strongest since the 2016.
Yes.
The bonds are rallying, the stock markets are rallying. Some are saying that it gives there's some certainty in terms of the outlook.
But that's bad news for us, though.
For us,
as the dollar strengthens, weakens, cost of living is going to go up locally. That is the Trump effect. We just have to deal with it. So I know you have a lot more in business.
And I'll be having some developments on that and what it means for the local currency as well. And the marginal reduction in prices of some food items still not enough to slow inflation rate increase for October this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
My man, I heard there's a new app on the streets that does it all for you.
Really? How is that possible?
Charlie, I also could not believe it too. But I downloaded the app and I'm telling you, I was able to chat with my friends, make video calls, and...
Well, we know of many apps that can do that.
Oh, let me finish, la. I was also able to listen to the latest songs, play games, and read the latest sports news.
For real?
Yeah, and I can send and receive money from the app. Amazing, no?
What's the name of this app?
It's called Ayoba.
Ayoba?
Yeah, Ayoba.
Get Ayoba, your all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, share, play, pay, and listen to music all in one app for everyone. Enjoy Ayoba with MTN and download the Ayoba app today. Everywhere you go.
Attention CEOs, join Ghana's top 1,000 CEOs, policymakers, political leaders, and ambassadors for the first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024 on November 7, 2024 at the Mervyn Pig Hotel, Accra from 6 to 10:30 p.m. This historic event will focus on reigniting the business economy and social contract for growth, a business manifesto for political accountability and sustainable development. Special guests of honor include His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of Ghana, and His Excellency John John Dramani Mahama, former president of Ghana. Attendance is by invitation and requires pre-registration. Register at ceogaladina.ceonetworkgh.com. For inquiries, contact 0546391970 or email ceogaladina@gmail.com. This event is powered by Chief Executive Network Ghana in partnership with Deloitte, PwC, University of Ghana, SIGA, GIPC, UPSA Law, and the Multimedia Group. The first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024, connecting political ambitions with business realities.
Yeah. We have a new leader in town. Obiarenti. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
From the classroom to the lab, from the village to the city, the NPP's commitment to education is building a brighter Ghana. Free SHS isn't just about free tuition, it's an investment in Ghana's future. We have topped it up with free TVET and STEM education, skilled graduates, innovative thinkers, and a thriving economy. That's the promise of free SHS.
3 of my cousins have benefited from free SHS since 2017. One has graduated and is in nursing training. The other 2 are also in the university. I'll vote number 1. I'll vote for Baumia on December 7th.
We are building a better tomorrow through education. Vote NPP. Vote number 1. Vote Baumia. Baumia means business. Estro.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
Imagine having access to top-notch educational resources, no matter your grade of school or location in Ghana. With the Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank, you can tap into a vast library of resources, even in offline mode. From primary all the way to tertiary education, we've got you covered. As a student, you have access to past questions from 1990 to date for BEC, WASI, and tertiary test examinations. As a teacher or lecturer, you can hold virtual classes for your students and share your lecture notes for their use. As an educator or researcher, you can publish your books or articles for public consumption. And lastly, you have your own studies teacher or AI tutor who is trained to teach you in any subject topic till you fully understand. So whether you're a student, educator, content creator, researcher, or entrepreneur, the Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank was made just for you. Sign up today at www.gksb.gov.gh. The Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank, where learning has no limits and the possibilities are endless. This project was financed by the World Bank under the erstwhile e-Transform project at the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Welcome and non fufua. A daily star 712 hash and found no regrets. A side comma investors are a striking gold. A comma health workers are a diagnosing luck with precision. A side comma that tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. Say a comma passionate fan on also entering containing a joy. I fake to the seamstresser or turning the hard end stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, a comma if you say your next big win is right here.
Star 712 hash. Luck is everywhere.
Dial *712# and join the luckiest winning celebration. From the 1st of July 2024, dial *712# to keep buying tickets as a group, individual, or even as a community. Win loads of cash and prizes in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with *712#. Join the winning streak now.
The luckiest.
*712#.
Luck is everywhere, for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the marginal reduction in food inflation rate over the past 2 months was still not enough to slow inflation rate increase for the month of October this year. There is more in this report.
The Ghana Statistical Service data showed that the prices of some foodstuff like vegetables, cereals, tubers, plantain, and cooking oil actually went down by some significant margin from September to October this year. However, the weight of these items in the food inflation basket were not enough to significantly slow the rate of inflation for the month of October 2024. Data from the Ghana Statistical Service also showed that general price levels of other food items also went down by some significant margin during that period. But despite the current challenges with the Ghana cedi, import inflation had been dropping over the past months to 16.3%, but inflation of items produced locally was, however, going up. Some have argued that if the month-on-month numbers are anything to go by, then they could argue that there is the likelihood that the trend could be slowing down in the coming month when it comes to inflation rate. However, one is not sure if government could end the year meeting its revised inflation target for 2024.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, government statistician Professor Sama Kobnenim has been explaining why inflation was going up on the year-on-year but was slowing when it comes to the past 1 month.
From a trend perspective, it is not surprising to see that variations on a month-on-month basis, because on a month-on-month basis, the trends are susceptible not only to policy making but other global shocks and all that one can think about. But what we need to put emphasis on, as I indicated in the submission, is the extent of variations across food and non-food inflation. Indeed, if you look at food inflation on a month-on-month basis, between October 2023 and February 2024, we didn't see that fluctuations. Consistently, over the 5 months period, we saw an increase from October to February 2023. Between March 2024 and June 2024, consistently over a 4-month period, we are also seeing an increase. So you see more of fluctuations in the case of non-food inflation relative to food inflation. And on the flip side, if you see fluctuations in food inflation, fluctuations are more significant than non-food inflation.
Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim. Let's still stay on inflation because financial economist Professor Lord Mensah has described the inflation numbers as expected.
It is something that, we're all expecting because of the rate at which the exchange rate is going up. And we know, obviously, that once, the dollar, moves up or any foreign currency moves up, Ghana being an import-driven economy, the pass-through effect will be on prices on the market. So it was expected. And it's something that I'm not surprised at all. It is expected. And the second question, which talks about food prices for month-on-month, has been dropping as well as inflation. Should that give us some hope? When it comes to food prices, I think if you trace back in the years, within the years, you appreciate that there are seasons that you get food on the market and there are seasons that food dries up.
And that is a financial economist, Professor Lord Mensah. The US dollar has recorded one of its biggest gains since 2016. Now, this is as a result of Donald Trump's historic win as president of the United States of America. But what could be the impact of this on the Ghana cedi if the trend is sustained? There is more in this report.
The Ghana cedi has been under some pressure over the past few months against the US dollar. There are fears that the current development could compound the challenge facing the local currency. This is because the dollar gaining in strength against other currencies earlier this year had played a role when it comes to the cedi's depreciation in the second half of this year. If this development is sustained, then some will be worried about the outlook for the Ghana cedi going forward. There are others who have argued that there are factors that have contributed to the cedi's depreciation. Therefore, they don't see this impacting badly on the Ghana cedi that much. The Bank of Ghana has given the firm assurance that it will intervene as and when the need arises to support the cedi.
And that is the business desk report. Well, the local currency had made some gains on the local forex market. It closed trading today selling at 16 Ghana cedis 90 pesos. Now, that's the rate that some of the forex bureaus sold to their clients today. Now, the president of the Ghana Union Trade Association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, has welcomed the proposed tax policies outlined by the MPP and the NDC in their 2024 manifestos. Now, speaking in an interview with Joy Best, Dr. Obeng expressed belief that these tax policies will provide relief for traders. He shared these remarks at the Power and Energy Ghana Expo in Accra.
Of the MPP, they are doing for all commodity lines, and that of the NDC is purposely for spare parts, and that we still appeal that if they can make it to cover all the other products. So these are the game changers for the trading community, because it's going to ease us the problem that we've been encountering, the duties, and then also the tax amnesty that is being promised is also very important, that we start afresh, and when we do that, the duty or the taxation will be minimized.
Dr. Joseph Obeng is president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Now, government could lose substantial revenue as freight forwarders and others picket on the premises of the shipping lines for 3 days. The action, according to these groups, follows the demonstration held in September this year to drum home factors militating against doing business in the country. Tema District Chair of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Johnny Mante, disclosed this in an interview with Tema.
If you had 10 containers on a bill of lading, where even in the jurisdictions that they had to charge you, they will charge you on all 10, one fee for all 10 containers, so not per container. So assuming I had 10 containers in Ghana today, if you have 10 containers, just for administrative fee, you will pay over 170,000 cedis. And the question is, what are they administrating? You have paid your freight, you have paid all your charges prior to the container moving, boxes moving. So these are some of the issues that we brought to their attention. We also told them that Regulation 5 of LI 2190 tells everybody that before you make effort to charge any client of any fee, go to the Shippers Authority and negotiate these fees.
And that's the district chair of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Johnny Mante, speaking to Joy Business in Tema. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you.
George, thank you very, very much. And Mr. Cranton is here with the very latest from the world of sports.
Yeah, Ivan's Ghana international Mohamed Kudus has been handed an additional 2-game ban for his conduct in West Ham's game against Tottenham Hotspur somewhere last month. Kudus kicked and slapped Tottenham defender Mickey van de Ven before putting his hands in the face of Papi Matar in a breakdown towards the end of his side's 4-1 loss. Kudus is expected to return to action for West Ham in their away game against Leicester City in December, meaning he misses the rest of the Premier League games in the month of November. Also in sports, a group of Ghanaian athletes with disabilities and National Disability Sports Fraternity protested at the Ministry of Youth and Sport against what they say is an ongoing visa racketeering chain that exploits persons with disability. The group's main concern is the apparent exploitation of disability sports for illegal visas. Evans, that's all for sports.
Thank you very much. And it's time for Climate Focus now. Tracking and measuring fires is essential to reducing the impact on the environment. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin focuses on a new powerful fire mapping tool, delivering fast, detailed and reliable information for wildfire response teams in today's edition of... Well, apologies there for the hitch with the sound, but it's time for Climate Focus, and we're focusing on a new powerful fire mapping tool delivering fast, detailed and reliable information for wildfire response teams in today's edition of Climate Focus.
The system enables them to track satellite data products in real time for several applications such as land use, wildfire monitoring, weather forecasting, and climate modeling, among others.
The Earth Observation Research and Innovation
Engineer Ekosi is the ground systems manager.
So the Earth Observing System affords us with satellite information data that helps us to detect fire hotspots in Ghana and in West Africa. The information is fed into an advanced virtual fire information system, which is an ICT-based information, to alert farmers and then other stakeholders about areas where fire is of high risk and where fires are currently occurring. We do this in near real time as and when there's a satellite pass over the system.
The Earth Observation System is about 10 steps outside the strong room. It is Ghana's only provider of near real-time Earth observation satellite data.
So even though we have this infrastructure located here installed in Sunyani, the combined SWAT area for the satellite data products covers the whole of West Africa, some portions of East Africa, and then Northern Africa as well. This infrastructure is currently the only one in Ghana serving this purpose and providing Earth observation related satellite data products in Ghana.
A report by Mohamed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, it was an emphatic projected win for Donald Trump, and getting that emphatic 279 electoral college votes after sweeping several key swing states in Tuesday's election. Former President Donald Trump is set to make a return to the White House as the 47th president of the USA. Donald Trump is also on course to be the first Republican presidential nominee to win the popular votes in the U.S. In fact, he has indeed achieved that particular feat too. Several news outlets in the U.S. have already projected that Trump has won the elections, by now. And we're now anticipating a concession speech by the Vice President Kamala Harris. It's taking some time, but she's coming around to it. This is a feel of it all from Trump.
We're going to fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And to every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day I will be fighting for you, and I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of the Senate. Wow, that's great.
In the last few minutes, the BBC is confirming that Kamala Harris has called Donald Trump to concede the election, and she has also congratulated him on the sweeping victory. Well, today we had exclusive access to the United States ambassador to Ghana at her residence. My colleague Kenneth Jesse joined the team there at the residence of the ambassador at a breakfast watch party, and he filed this report.
At around 5:30 a.m., some members of the American community in Ghana had started arriving at the official residence of the U.S. ambassador to Ghana. It wasn't long until the ambassador herself, Virginia Palmer, showed up at the watch party. The gathering was for a simple reason: to witness the outcome of the historic elections of the United States. But as minutes turned into hours, with 3 giant screens in the hall showing results from Fox News, BBC News and CNN, it was looking increasingly obvious that former President Donald Trump would make a return to the White House. With BBC News and CNN projecting a significant lead by Donald Trump over Kamala Harris, Fox News had already called the election for the former president. The room was filled with mixed reactions. Some of them told me off camera that they believe democracy has won, regardless of which candidate emerged victorious. Soon after, the U.S. ambassador addressed the press, where she said she expects the United States' relations with Ghana to remain unchanged regardless of the outcome of the election. Ambassador Palmer was, however, quick to add that new programs tailored towards Ghana might be introduced, or existing ones are likely to be amended under a potential Trump presidency, but it will not affect the two countries' mutual relations.
President Biden is the president until January 20th, until Inauguration Day, and we only have one president. It's in U.S. law. So this administration has said multiple times in public and to us that they intend to run through the tape, so to continue to keep the momentum up on initiatives that have been worked on in the Biden-Harris administration.
Well, as we speak tonight, as far as the Electoral College votes are concerned, Trump is still surging ahead long after he was projected to win and became the president-elect. 294 to Harris's 223. And that's it for News Night tonight. It's Strong and Sassy coming up next, and Noella is joining me with a very exciting conversation to look forward to. Hello, Noella.
Hi, Evans. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. So, in the wake of the biggest millennial scandal, I'm talking about the Electoral.
Oh my goodness, we're talking about
we're talking about it. We the singles, we're asking how attractive is marriage, especially for a story that involves a married man caught on tape with
several married women, high
profile.
I mean, this is a first sex scandal that leaks on social media that I've seen on Reuters, for example. Reuters report them like, goodness, this story must be very, very powerful indeed.
Very powerful.
It spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
It was all across indeed. Very interesting indeed.
Very
Looking
interesting.
forward to your conversation.
Please do.
Yeah.